All right, so we'll go ahead and get started here. So my name is Sarah Allison, and I'm the Recreation Advisor with Horse Council BC. And I would like to acknowledge that the land where the HCBC office is located is on the traditional lands of the Katzie, Kwantlen, Matsqui, and Semiahmoo First Nations. Myself and many others are attending virtually from other areas in the province, and therefore we'd like to acknowledge all Aboriginal peoples on whose traditional territories we're meeting today. And I just wanted to go over some housekeeping before we get started here. So like the webinar said, we are currently recording this presentation and it will be available to watch at a later date on our YouTube channel. We have everyone on mute, and if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box during the presentation. Linda and I will be keeping an eye on the chat box throughout the presentation, and we'll kind of maybe go through them a bit as they come in, but we'll try and recap them at the end of the presentation as well. And we'll try to keep the webinar to an hour tonight, but we might go a bit over. So yeah, should be a good night. And today I am here with Sharon Pickthorn and Linda Buchanan, who are members of the Backcountry Horsemen Association. And we are, oh, sorry, lost my train of thought. They are experienced trail riders, and I'm excited to have them share their knowledge and expertise. And this marks our second Avenza webinar, and depending on everyone's experience with using the app, we'll potentially review some of the topics from last time and then get into some more of the in-depth functionality of the app. So we do have some poll questions for everyone. So I'm going to start those for you guys. Just pull it up here. Okay, so there's 4 questions here in the poll. One just kind of asking what region you're from, what type of trail user, and then the last 2 questions are just going to help kind of gauge where everybody's at in their Avenza experience and how we can potentially tailor this presentation to you guys. So we'll just kind of see how those come in. Okay, and Linda and Sharon, are you guys able to see the answers to the poll?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect. That's great. It looks like a lot of you have had a chance to download the Avenza app in your phone. So yeah, you're more than welcome to have your phone out and yeah, kind of follow along or do what you need there. And Sharon and Linda will take you through everything. And yeah, and then it's also the last question, have you ever made an Avenza track? So I'm not sure where Linda and Sharon will take us tonight with that. But yeah, should I hand it over to you guys now?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Hey. Hi, everybody. Nice to see everyone here. I see some familiar names. Linda and I have been pretty busy the last couple of days learning more about Avenza, so we can help you. We make mistakes like everybody else using Avenza, and we've also discovered that nothing dies and everybody lives through the mistakes and you get back where you are. I'm going to start with a PowerPoint presentation. I think from our poll questions, Linda, it looks like I don't have to cover downloading a map.
No.
But I think we will show the video of making a track.
Yeah.
Would make sense, I think. So if everybody's okay, I will jump into the PowerPoint. Does that sound, is there anything else you wanted to mention, Linda, now?
Nope, I think we got let's see where we're going now.
Okay.
Go for it, Sharon.
Okay, so just bear with me for a second while I figure out which screen I'm on here. Okay. Hey, I'm hoping everybody can see a nice screen with a Horse Council Avenza and a backcountry logo on it.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So this is just a very quick overview for some of you that are not familiar with how we got here. So it's a history lesson of what happened. There was a database that was created years ago by a fellow named Jack Breaks. It ended up, long story made short, that Horse Council assumed that database. And that's what is our online trail database now. And then in December of 2017, Lynn DeVries and I went over to the Horse Council's offices to talk about making geo-referenced maps and providing them free for everyone. And at that point, Horse Council and Backcountry decided that we'd marry up with a company called Avenza Maps. They're a Canadian company. They actually at the very beginning even gave us software for creating like a mapping cartography program as well that we were using for a while. And that's how the three ended up together. Okay. I'm going to get this next slide. Linda's going to speak to this one.
Okay, just things that you might or might not have known about Avenza, as I hear lots of talk about other apps and whatnot, and what you're most comfortable with. But with Avenza, all the maps are always available offline. You don't need a subscription. So when we say it's free, it's free. It is. There is some pro subscription parts for more higher end applications, but for what we're all wanting it to use it for, we don't need to have a subscription. If you wanted something like a backroads map, then you'll pay a one-time purchase and you'll buy that map for like $2 or a bundle for $6 or something like that. So the other really important thing is the maps in Avenza are curated and authoritative maps and can be trusted. So they're made by Natural Resource Canada. The maps made that are in there that Horse Council has submitted, these are verified maps that horse people have gone out, ridden those trails, and then submitted those tracks, and a map has been created. So that's what we mean by they're authoritative and can be trusted. We know that those are horse trails. Are they perfect? No, because it's all done by volunteers, but it's a very good use of knowing that those are equestrian trails. And then backroads maps, well, everybody's familiar with those, and they're in books, they're in everything. So that's good. The equestrian maps are created and supported by Horse Council, like I said. And one other thing that I found out in Avenza that some of the other apps don't have, well, they show your position of Latin long, which we're all familiar with, but there's a new program that's come out there, and you can Google what 3 words. And basically the world has been broken down into 3-meter squares and given 3 words. So if I ended up in a situation and I needed help and somebody else was with me, it's going to be hard for me to say, my location is at lat number, long number. Remember that and go tell the emergency personnel. But if I look at my Avenza app and I look at what 3 words, I could go, tell them I'm at reading, artwork, smoker. So it's just another thing to keep in mind. So those are just a few little tweaks that I picked up on. Back to you, Sharon.
Okay, thank you. One thing that when Linda was talking about them being authoritative maps or curated, I guess what we're i- in essence sort of pointing to is there certainly is other map apps out there that anybody can contribute to. So you'll be on a trail and you'll be merrily marking, going along, and you might be on somebody's private property, and you would have no knowledge of that. For horse council maps that we've created, they're on public land anywhere that there's adjacent private land that's been marked. So they're just a little bit more trustworthy. Let's put it that way. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm not going to share a screen to how to download a map, because it looks like just about everybody has done that. But I'm going to get Sarah to share the video of me making a track and my husband taking a video of me, and you can follow along with that. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and then Sarah can jump in.
Perfect. Sounds good. Screen. Okay, and can everybody see that all right?
Yep.
Okay, great. And make it.
Hi, we're at Williams Beach Trails, and we have a map that we loaded before we got here, which is a good idea, just to have it on cell service. The other advice I would give you is when you're using your maps, remember to set your phone onto airplane mode, because that saves a lot of battery power with Avenza, and you'll get a lot further on your map tracking. So I'm showing you my phone now. You can see the map that I'm on. This is how you use your fingers to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, and if I want to know where I am, down in this bottom left-hand corner, you see a little directional arrow. It'll be similar on an iPhone. The symbol might be a little bit different, but they're always in the same place. So I'm just going to click that, and you'll see that I all of a sudden zoomed over to this P, and you'll see I've got a blue circle. So when I start to walk, what's going to happen is that blue circle is going to follow me along as I go. Okay, so I'm going to go a little while up here, and I'll start the video again when I get up to an intersection. So here we are, we're still on the trail. We've come up now and we're at an intersection, and the trail goes 4 different ways. So you can still see my blue marker is there. Again, I can zoom in if I want by spreading my fingers. Whoops. Spreading my fingers. I can move the map down. Okay. Notice that crosshairs that's on my map. What that is if I put in a place marker, that's where it would appear. But yes, so I'm on that blue circle. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually change, because the map right now is oriented to the north. If I want it to map or orient itself to the direction I'm pointing, the selection arrow I got to get my blue dot working, I hit it again and it goes straight up like that. You'll notice it gets a bit shaky, and that's because it's actually now locating the direction I'm going. So now if I move around, it's actually going to change. So it's going to help me to orient myself if I've got 3 or 4 trails. I don't have to ride down them to find out which direction I'm going. So that's just a hint there. So you change that back to orient to north by hitting it again. Right now I'm oriented north. Now the other things on the screen here, that's my latitude, longitude measurements there. This second item is a pin. So if I want to mark this for some reason, I can click on that and I put down what name I want to give it. Just get rid of that one. And I'm going to call it intersection. Okay. I can change the symbol if I want. I could put photos on it. I could do descriptions, all those kind of things, like time, location. But right now I'm just going to leave it at intersection, and I'm going to add that place mark, and you accept it by ticking that little tick mark on the side. Okay.
So now you actually see the little red dot. Okay. So, but be careful when you do that because it puts it where, not necessarily where your blue mark was, it's where that crosshair was. So if I actually went down here, I could go put another marker down there, even though I'm not there right now. So if I went and picked this again, I would be putting the next little marker down there. So just be careful with that. Okay, I'm back just on the main screen when you've signed in. So this is me. I've signed in under my email. The reason I wanted to show you this screen is this is the screen that's got download history. So if you have downloaded a few maps before a trip or whenever, and you've maybe done it on your computer, which is easier because you've got a big screen, you can see the maps better. If you've done it on your computer, the next time you come on your phone, you actually just click on download history and it will actually go find all the maps that you've recently downloaded. So here's some that I've done that I haven't downloaded yet to the phone, but I've actually gone to the Avenza map store and got them from the Pacific Rim National Park. So if I want them, I can download them. Okay, so there's that. It's under downloads. Now let me take you back a step. Now, where are my maps? So if I go down to the bottom of my screen, they're under my maps. I have sorted my maps up at the top here. There's a selection. I've sorted them by distance. So the phone knows where I am right now. So it's telling me I'm on actually 3 maps that I have on my phone. I'm on the Williams Beach map that we're using right now. My little locator button, there I am. Okay, I could go back. That's a Horse Council map. I could go back and I'm also on this one. So I'm going to click on this one. Here comes up some crazy map. Hit my locator button and there I am. Right. So it'll find me on any maps that I'm on there's another one and bingo, there I am. So you can be on more than one map at a time. Okay, so the next step to show you is what happens if I want to make a track. So on this map in particular, there is no tracks. So maybe I want to make a track. So if I want to make my own track, I go to the button to the far right there. And if you see the second one, it says record GPS tracks. I'm going to click that. Okay, it wants to access your location data. That's fine. I'm going to allow that. Okay, and it's asking me if I want it all the time. This is an Android. So I'm going to say allow all the time. That's fine. And I think I should be able to go back. Okay. Now let me go back in there again. Okay, there we go. So that's the screen you're going to see. It's going to say it's ready to track. Now, the biggest mistake you're going to make now is you're going to forget to press this button down at the bottom, this big green one that says start tracking. So you say start tracking and it's doing its thing. You can swipe this away now so you don't really see it, but see down at the bottom, it still says tracking. So then I basically narrowly start walking. It's going away now. Here I go. I'm going to go for a bit and look at another picture and see my track. As you can see with this trail, it looks like I've come to the end of it. So I'm going to stop this particular track. So I'll show you how you do that now. So I'm going to swipe the tracking back up. There we go. And I'm going to put stop. Okay, I only went point whatever of a kilometer and you can barely see it. So I'm going to zoom in here so you can see it. Okay, so you see that little dinky orange line? That's the track I just made. Okay, so, but it's there. Now, and if I want to see how it's represented and maybe name it, tracks are considered to be layers. So if you look on the phone, there's a thing that looks like a stacked bunch of piece of paper. Click on that, and that's your layers, right? So right now it's saying I've got 3 layers that are active, and I click in there, and I look at the one that I've just done. So here it, I'm looking for today's date. Here it is here. track 2. I can click on it, tells me there it is, how many meters it is when I did it. Okay, and I clicked on it again, and now I can name it, right? I can click on it, get rid of that name, and call it bombed track, because we didn't get anywhere. Okay, and that's fine. You can change the style, you can change the color, all that kind of good stuff. So there you go. So I've got, and then I tick it down at the very bottom to see where your keyboard is. And there we go. And now it's also, now it's called bombed track. Okay, so that's how you do tracking if you want to do that. You don't have to do tracks if you've got a map that's already got tracking, GPS track map like Horse Council has published. You can just follow along, follow your little blue dot, you'll know where you are. Okay. So we're going to give you a little more information about your maps and sometimes what can happen when you're on your map. So I'm going to go into my map, and I can do my locator button. There I am. I'm going to zoom in. Now let me just show you something. You'll notice right now I've got the name of my map at the top, and I've got my, I'm going to call it a menu bar at the bottom. But sometimes those disappear on you and you can't figure out why. Like that. So now if you look at my phone, it's gone. And you're panicked and you're like, where did my menu go? So actually all you have to do is click it a single time again. Nice short little click, and those two will come back. Okay, another thing I want to cover is if you look down at the bottom, and in the other video I mentioned lat long, that's the default right now that's displayed. You may end up in a discussion with somebody about that. If you click there, there is a whole ton of different ways you can do lat long. This is the default that I've used at the top. I would recommend using that. We just looked up on the internet what search and rescue uses. They actually use something different, but search and rescue guys are professionally trained, and don't worry, they'll find you if you give them those coordinates. So that's how you get your lat long. Oh, the other thing we were going to look at was settings of accuracy of your map. So it's a good idea to check what your settings are on your phone. They're different between an Android and an iPhone. So in mine, I have to go out of my map, my back button, and then if you can see the 3 dots beside all my maps, I'm going to go into that 3 dots, and you can see here, oh, I'm wrong. My maps is settings. Nope, I'm wrong. Let me go back a step.
So you want the top 3 dots.
We want the top 3 dots. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay, so it's up by my name. Sorry about that. Top 3 dots. And on an Android, I go to settings. Okay, so what's important about these is you look down here, go to the one, units of measure, you'll find out is probably in kilometers. Go to the one that says GPS. Okay, and then here, go have a look down a little bit on where it talks about horizontal, accuracy, distance, and time. So I've reduced these. You can see you can do 8 meters, 16, and I think the default is 32. And there's a lot of difference between accuracy between 32 meters and 8 meters. And so what that means is when you're going along on your map, your lat long and your position on your map may not be as accurate because it's saying, I don't care about anything unless it's 32 meters or more. So you might want to change that. And then I've put down that it's going to record what's happened every 2 meters, and it's going to record it every 5 seconds. Now we found in here, there's 2 and 30. I think the default was 30 seconds. This is a custom. I could set a custom, but we just found on the iPhone that getting the custom was a little bit harder. Is that right, Bonnie?
Yeah, it sure was.
So anyways, but have a look in there and pick what you want. Again, think about this in that if you have it set to a shorter period of time, that's going to eat up a little bit more battery. Okay, so the only other thing that we wanted to cover was sharing a map. So Okay, so let's say I want to share a map, this one that I'm on in it's a backroads map book. If I go to the 3 stars, you go to share. Okay, and then I can pick whatever. I can send it by a message, I can send it how by email, whatever. If I send it by email, we just tested that, and what happened was I got the email from Bonnie, and it actually linked me right to the Avenza map store to the map. And in that particular one, it was a pay map. So all I had to do was click on buy. I think you're ready to purchase it, right? So remember, if you purchase it on the computer, right, then you find it in your download history later, and you can get it. But that's how you share maps between each other if you're not working on the same map. Hey, I think that's all there is for this one.
All right, perfect. I'll stop sharing my screen now. And
Okay. Okay, so I'll go back and get the PowerPoint going again. And I believe I'm here. Okay, so we covered that. My next slide is talking about, we talked about some horse council maps, but I also wanted to cover that if there's no horse council maps, because unfortunately we haven't got them for the whole province yet, you can get topo maps for all of Canada available for free from Avenza. I'm going to show that in the next couple of slides, and I did do it on my computer just so you could see it a little bit bigger on this PowerPoint show, but let me give you a little shot. So where I went is, this is the Avenza landing page on the computer, on the web. I went and clicked on search now where the green is, and then it bumps you in to this screen. So this is where you would search for maps. And this is similar on a phone, but we may have some time to cover that as well. So you can see there's a search bar at the top that says search for maps and places here. And so you could type in the name of a city here. You can, and then there's filters here. So right now I have filtered that I'm cheap and I only want free maps. And the other thing that's happening here that may look a little odd is you'll see I'm seeing these topographic Natural Resource Canada maps listed down the side, but why is my map here right now in around Salmon Arm? Well, what I've done there is I've actually, it came up with the list in Quebec because on my computer, it honestly doesn't know where I am, right? If you were on your phone, it would, I'm pretty sure it, you can confirm this with me, Linda, but if you're on your phone, it's going to bring you to maps that are in your area. Is that correct?
I
think it does.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But because I was on my computer doesn't have a GPS. So if for some reason it bumped me into Quebec. So I've basically just taken this map and scrolled over. So then I'm saying what I would do here is I could click on this, search this area, but let me just show you this next slide because I want to show you how topographical maps work. So Canada was all divided up into these squares, and you can see these are individual topographical maps, and they all have these kind of interesting names where it says Toporama, and then it's a letter with the 4 digits around it and the name of sort of the nearest area. Now, word of warning. If you're going somewhere that doesn't have a horse council map and you want to take a topographical map so that you can make some trails and make sure you find your way back to camp, get more than the one you think you need, because it's happened to some of us. We've been merrily riding along And then all of a sudden we realized that we're now actually not on the map at all. We're kind of off on the white zone in this side. So, you know, if you were on the screen I'm looking at, I might download that one, and maybe I better download the one beside it. They're not big. You're better to have too many maps and not enough. And again, you've got to get your maps when you've got Wi-Fi. So you want to make sure before you leave on a trip that you've downloaded your maps ahead of time. Okay. This is just the landing page for help for Avenza on the computer. And there's all sorts of topics down there. I've also found you literally can go into Google and just type in Avenza using layers, and it'll bounce you right into the Avenza website into articles about the topic that you're asking about. So the videos that are on their website and the articles they write, in my opinion, they're pretty thorough and they're pretty good. They also have real people at the end of the phone. They do answer their emails. So you've got good support from Avenza. This is a list of some links that can help us, all of us with Avenza, that Linda looked up. The one called Outside Chronicles, that guy makes a whole whack of videos, and they're very good. And what's going to happen is Sarah will also be taking this PowerPoint, making it into a PDF, and the PDF will be available on the Horse Council website. So don't worry about, you know, trying to remember these links, because she will email everybody after the webinar, and you'll be able to see this, and then you can look up some of these later if they're helpful. And now I'm going to turn this over to Linda for the next section.
Okay, so I'm really glad to see that a lot of you have been out there at least trying and making tracks and whatnot. But one of the things that I've noticed as I've seen tracks come in is there's overlapping tracks, and they're just kind of a jumble of lines, and they might make sense to you, but they're not really going to make sense to a lot of other people. Next slide. So when I'm going to go out and I'm seriously wanting to track a new trail network, I make tracking my priority. I'm not going to, you know, wander off trail or start doing some maintenance work or anything like that. I'm going out there with my priority to track. I also like to have a friend go along with me, because if you reach an intersection and you're really not sure which way that the track that you're on you want to continue, is you stay put with your Avenza and let your friend go search out, and then, oh yeah, it's this one that we want over here. So that helps you make a clean track. And be prepared to start tracking at the beginning of your trail, and then check that you are actually in fact tracking, and then stop tracking at the end of your trail. That one's the hard one. I've forgotten to hit stop, and next thing I know, I'm all over the place again. So, and when you stop tracking in your phone and you push the stop track button, your track will automatically be saved. That's cool. You don't have to press save or anything like that. So I went out the other last week, 2 weeks ago, and I made a track where I'm on the same pathway. So the green line there, it says an overlap track. So I headed from the parking lot, I went straight out to that red marker, and then I came back on the same trail. So that's what I call an overlap track. Do I need to have it overlap? No, not really. If I want to put it on a map, I just like it to be one clean line. So on this map, I better clarify too, the red line is a road. This is on a topographic map. And there's a blue line, and everything to the left of the blue line is the water. So I'm walking along a beach here. So if you were wanting to download this and go into a track editor program and you just wanted to clean it up to one single line, you're going to have to delete an awful lot of little GPS points to clean it up to a single line. So, and it makes it, overlap tracks become really difficult if you're doing a large network and say you're at a base camp and you go out the same trail and then you split off to a variety of trails and then you come back and you come back on the same trail. You could have like 5 or 6 overlaps on that same trail and it kind of starts to look very cluttered. Next slide. So what do I do? So I went the other direction and I basically I started my track in the parking lot and I went out to the bottom of the red marker. And then I stopped my track. And then I turned around and I started my track again. And I went back to the parking lot. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to change the color of my track. When I finish it, I give it a name and I change the color of it. So that is what I've done here is I've made the first track a blue track and the second track is the default orange track and the overlap track is a green track. So that way, if I wanted to show 2 tracks on one trail, like what's the blue and orange, it would be easy for me to separate those 2 or leave them like that. Next slide. So here, this is at Skamikan, and I just did this on a topographic map. And there's 3 different trails. They could all overlap. I could start at the red line, the road, and do the orange to its end. I could start at the red line again, overlap the orange and go on to the blue and then overlap the orange again. You see where I'm going with this? So I've chosen one main trail, which is the orange trail. I've saved it. I made it its own color and I've actually called it a name. And then I went back and I started the blue trail by itself. Gave it its own name and yeah, thanks, Sharon. Color. And then the yellow trail is another one in that same network. So now it makes it look clean and it's very visible that I have 3 different tracks happening here in this one little area. Okay. So when I say to change, so when you click on your track, so my orange track, when I click on it with my finger, touch that track, this little information box comes up. Now I've already changed the name of it, but it would say track 1. It would tell me it's 1.33 kilometers long. And I was a very slow walker that day. It took me 18 minutes and 40 seconds. Wow. Anyway, when you click on that box, the other slide shows up here to the right. And I can change the name. It says edit name. And I can change my track color. There would be a drop-down list, and I think there's about 7 colors to choose from. And that's just where, like, if you wanted to add a photo, I don't usually add photos. But again, it says show graph, and it tells me how long my track is and how many minutes it took, and you can get a lot more information off that. And then all I have to do is click back, and the name will be changed, the color will be changed, and I'm done. Am I going too fast? So just making track tips, your track color on your phone will default to orange. So that's something that you have to do when you've stopped is change its color. Otherwise, all your tracks will be orange. And I'd really suggest that you click on your track at the end when you finished tracking and change your track name from track 1, give it a name, and then change the color of your track. And we'll get into why you really want to do that a little bit more when we go to start sharing tracks. Otherwise, I'm going to wonder, well, which track was track 1? If your trails split off at an intersection, I would suggest putting a place mark and naming that place mark right away. You can go intersection of trail share and tree cone, so that when I go back, I can remember to go back to that intersection, and now I have to map out or track tree cone. You can delete all the waypoints after you've got your tracking all done. And if you are wanting to track multiple trails, I would suggest treat each one separately and just follow my suggestions above. And each track will have its own name and a different color. Hopefully you only have to do 7 tracks because there's only 7 colors. But you can do it. I mean, that's a lot of tracking in one day. So, okay. Next slide.
Okay. One thing I just wanted to add to what Linda said is, one of the reasons we encourage people to, put some thought into making their tracks is we actually hope that you're going to make tracks, and if they're on public land, maybe you want Horse Council to make a map for you. And the cleaner it is, it's a little less work for our cartographer that we hire. I mean, she is capable of cleaning it up, but if you put some thought to it and you've already named them, etc., when we send them to our Chana, it just makes it a whole lot easier for her to whip off the map if she's already got the names, and she'll use your colors or whatever you want, etc. So, and it's quite fun doing that. I know Linda's done that. I don't know if anyone else on the call has, but you send all your tracks, and then you'll actually end up meeting the cartographer, and she will be working with you to just make sure that she's labeled it all right, and that, we like the background, and maybe we have to mark that this is where the camping is, or this is where the parking is, or, that kind of stuff. So it's quite fun. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide, but is there any questions, Sarah, that we should talk about now? Any chats or questions that we could address, or are we good?
No, I think we're good to keep going at this time.
Okay. Okay, so we all know how to get a map from the map store. We've learned how to make a track. And so your riding buddy has just made a track of this great trail, and she wants to share it with you. And so what she's done is she's given you the map name where the track is located, and she's going to send you an email with the name of the map, and then probably a second email with the actual attached track. So Linda and I are going to demonstrate this now live on our phones. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and we are going to do this live. So both of us have our phones hooked to Zoom by a fancy little program called AirDroid. If you ever have to do this, it works like a hot damn. So Linda, you're going to share first.
Yeah. I just got it up. And hit share screen.
So we're going to be looking at Linda's actual phone. So yeah, if you have a phone right now with Avenza loaded on it and you've got it in your hot little hand, you can follow along to what she's doing. And she's on an iPhone, I'm on an Android.
Okay. So this is my phone. You're looking at it live. This is my little Avenza map icon here. And so I'm going to click on it. Oh, let's go right back to my front page. So I went and made a map in the Salmon Arm topographic map, and I made a track in that map. So this is what Sharon says. I'm going to tell Sharon, hey, I need you to to download that Salmon Arm topographic map 082L11 Toporama Natural Rate. So she'll do that. Okay. So I'm going to click on that, and I can zoom out. Like there's the whole thing of Salmon Arm. Of course, this up here is where I'm living, but this is the map down here. And so I zoom in, and this is the little track that I made. I'll get the crosshairs out of there. And this is what I want to send to Sharon. And if I click on that, I've already given it a name. I called it OSM track. And what I'm going to do is go down to my 3 little pieces of paper down here. They're called layers. And I'm going to click on that. And there's my layers. Remember I said OSM? Well, it's Klahani. That's it. So there's other layers that I have and not necessarily on this track, but so this here is my export icon thing. And I'm going to click up here first. And this is the cool part. If you have a friend that's sitting right beside you and they have an iPhone, of course, you can use AirDrop. Like you airdrop photos or a bunch of other things like that. Like that route goes super fast. But Sharon isn't beside me, and she's going to get it by email. So I'm going to hit export to others. And what I want to do is what's this 24 features? I didn't think I had 24 features. So I'm going to go look at my custom. Oh, I'm clicking the computer and not my. So this is where I want to go. Oh, those are the other 24 layers in there, but I only want to send Sharon my Klahani track. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to, in my iPhone, I'm going to go back, and Sharon's, I think in an Android, there's a little check mark. So now I'm going to go back. And now it says 1 layer, 4 features. And I'm going to export it now. Oh, the other thing, I should go back here. It says OMS Klahani. That's what I want. I'm just going to go back here 1 second. Because the GPX, if I wanted to send this as a KML file so somebody can open up on Google Earth, then I would switch it to KML. But I'm going to send it to Sharon in a GPX format. Okay. Now I'm going to export. And this is where it comes up. I can airdrop if somebody was right beside me. But in this case, I'm going to mail it to Sharon. So all I do is I click on mail and I type in Sharon's email address. The track is there. It's okay if there's that little question mark. I don't know why it has it. And I press my send to send it off. And it's gone. So Sharon will now get it at her end. Do you have any questions at this stage? Okay. If you have an iPhone and an iPad, you can do this back and forth to yourself. That's what I've been doing over the last little bit. So, and I've been doing it by AirDrop as well. So, okay, I will stop sharing my screen and Sharon will go now to her end.
Okay. Okay, so one thing I just want to mention is in the PowerPoint, there is actual screen prints of these steps. So again, you can see this in the PDF if you want to follow it later. But okay, so I'm now going to share my phone. Okay, so now you should see, everybody should see my Android. And, okay, so I know this is going to be in my email. So I'm swiping across. I'm going to find my email and I'm going to open up my email. And there, that top email, Linda's just sent me this. So I'm going to click on it. Okay, hopefully everybody's with me. So I've opened Linda's email on my phone. I can see the name of it. It says it's a GPX. And you can see there's two symbols there. One of them's a download button. One of them is, I think, for drive. Don't hit drive, hit download. So I'm going to click on download. Doesn't look like it did much, but it has. So that's fine. I've done that part. Now I'm going to hit my back button on my email. And I'm going to minimize my email. Okay, now I'm going to scroll over here to look at my Avenza. Now, if you remember, she told me that I had to have that salmon arm map there and ready, right? So I do have that there and ready. So just make sure you've got to have. Now, remember on my video where I was walking with my husband was videotaping me and I said that I had 3 maps that I was on. She's told me to use salmon arm topo, but I might have I could even have a back roads map for the salmon arm area and I could plunk it into there. It doesn't really matter what map it is as long as the map bounds are the right area. Okay. Okay, so can everybody still see my phone?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so now I have so on that map right now, that's the map. I have to figure out how do I get that item onto this map. So on my Android, where that actually is located is it's actually put the file that I downloaded into my, it's called downloads and it's listed under my files. So I'm going to go minimize that and I'm going to go to my files, go in there. Can everybody still see that? Okay, because I actually can't. I'm not sure why I can't see my phone right now. You still can see my phone, right?
Yep.
You're
Okay,
good.
good. Good, as long as you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to click on downloads. And can everybody see at the very top that there it is? It's sitting at the top. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, and if I remember correctly, and I don't have the screen in front of me. So now if I go into here, I want to go to my layers because remember when tracks are layers, so are the little place marks, all that stuff are considered to be layers. So the track is a layer. So I have to go into, I'm in my salmon arm map. I'm going to the 3 pages at the bottom and I'm going to hit the 3 bars at the bottom now. I'm going to click that. And can everybody see it changed? And now it's got create layer, import layer. So I am going to click on import layer. Okay, and it's saying, where are you getting this from? I scroll my phone to the cloud storage. See, and now I'm back where I showed you before, where it's sitting. I click on that track and say, that's where it is. It says it's selected. And now I think, I'm not sure if I click select on this top corner. Let me try that. Okay, and there it is. So now it's showing, see at the bottom, my phone, it just quickly said file downloaded. And it's interesting that it's saying it's empty, which has me a little, that's interesting, Linda.
Oh,
Something went wrong there. That layer was empty. Okay, so this is good because, you know, these things happen and then we can show you that you can actually get past this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go back out of here. I'm going to stop sharing because um, I'm assuming,
Oh, I went and deleted something.
no, I actually go ahead and do it again because I think I know what might have gone wrong. So go back to grab that track again.
Share my screen again?
Share your phone screen again.
Oh, okay, I gotta bring the whole thing up again. You got it?
I can see yeah. So try going back into Avenza and I think what happened is if you go back to the map, yeah, and click, um, okay, so remember there was 4 objects. Maybe open the 4 objects and make sure that the trail's there. And see, it's not on that one. Go to, oh, there it is. So wasn't there a way that you could actually just click on that one back on that last screen and just export that to me? Oh, that might, okay, so this might be it. Because now do you see how it says custom 1 layer 1 feature? And before it said 4. So let's see if that makes any difference. Let's see if that works. Okay.
You just check before that you got it.
Okay, can you stop sharing your screen and I'll go back to my phone?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so I'm back in here. Okay, we're back to Sharon's phone. Sharon's going back into Gmail. Sharon sees the new message. Sharon clicks the download and goes back. Okay. I am going to stop sharing this screen just for a second. Just bear with me. I'm going to stop sharing my phone. I'm going to share this for a second. Okay. So I'm back on the PowerPoint. I'm going to go to that next screen. So we can see the map, we can see an email. Then the next step is that I've got to do is I've got to go to my map. I got to go to my layers. And then I got to go back into Avenza and click the 3 bars. So I think that is what I did last time. I'm just trying to make sure that I didn't make a mistake there. And then I import the layers cloud. So yeah, this should work. Okay, so let me stop sharing the PowerPoint, go back to my phone, and I'll just make sure I'm doing this fine. Okay. So I did do the download. I've got the map. I'm going to the layers within the map. And this one had said it was empty. So what I'm actually going to do, just so I don't confuse this, I can actually delete this empty one. So I've clicked on it. I'm going to delete it. I click on delete. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to click on the 3 bars again. And I'm going to say import. Here I am again. I'm going to scroll to cloud storage. See, it's come in again and it's named it 1 this time. Interesting. Oh, you know what? Have a look at that, Linda, the screen. See, the last one before was 335 bytes, and this one's now 50 kilobytes.
Yep.
So I'm assuming something was empty on that last one. Okay, so I click on that. That quick thing says at the very bottom, file downloaded, it's happy as a clam. That's gone away. Okay, and now if I go back to my map and scroll in, I am going to find this little puppy.
Up higher.
Higher.
It's on there or in orange. There it is.
There it is. It's orange. Okay, so here's another little practice thing we can do. Second, I'm trying to get it down. Okay, if everybody remembers part of that stuff we just learned, remember it comes in as a default as orange. So I think on Linda's map, it was blue.
Yep.
Everybody remembers, but remember it dumps it in orange. But just so for a practice, so everybody knows how to do this. So now I've got that track. Remember, if I want to see the details of it, I'm clicking right on the track. And can you see how it's called, what it is, etc.? If I want to change the color, I'm now going to put my finger right on top of the name right here. Okay. This is where I get what she named it. Right. So I could actually change that right now if I want. Whoops, don't click there. I'm doing it on my mouse. Okay. So from Linda, I could call it, right? I could now change it and say, I don't want it orange. I want it bright blue. And then I'm there. And now I've changed the name and it's now blue. And now it's on my map on my phone, sent to me by Linda through email. Clear as mud, everybody?
Yeah, I think that's going great, you guys. I'm happy that we're able to like show the sharing of it and everything. I just wanted to let you know we're at 5 after 8. So just wanted to give you a heads up on time as well.
Okay. So I'll stop sharing now. I'll go back to the PowerPoint. I don't think there's actually that much more to cover.
No.
In fact, I don't think there's anything more to cover. Let me just have a look. Let me share the PowerPoint. Where did my PowerPoint go? Where's my PowerPoint? Might be this one. No, it's not that one. Just a second. Bear with me. I think I got too many windows open on the top of it. Okay.
I can pull it up as well if you need me to, Sharon.
Okay. Okay, everybody's actually seeing the show screen, not the presenter view, right? But let me just look. Yeah, I don't think think we've got any more slides to cover. So I think now we'll just
I can just share the one slide. We didn't put it in this PowerPoint of showing the 3 similar maps with different info on them, the private property and that.
Oh, okay, that'd be a good idea. And then let's see if there's any questions in the chat and stuff.
Okay.
So
just a sec here.
do I need to I didn't hit the share button yet, so I think you can still share. You still can grab it, right?
Yep. Okay, can everybody see that now? Good. So just the things that I was that I've also learned recently because I like to use the different tracking apps. And like I've said before, it's what you're most comfortable with and what you are wanting to do. But just a couple of things to be aware of. So this is the exact same area. So this is the Skamikan Trail Network here. And when I was talking before, Sharon mentioned about private property. This square in the middle of the Skamikan Trail Network, it surrounds it, is private property. So when, I'm sorry, I can't zoom in. Maybe I can. No, closer. But so this is the trail system in colors all around. They're verified horse trails on the Horse Council Skamikan map. It also identifies that this gray square is private property. And as you'll see, any trails don't actually go into it. The colored trail system is completely out of the private property. All Trails, which is another very popular map, and I think people like it because you don't have to download maps. You can just go right into like it's an open street map. But it's also shows these are user trails. So anybody can contribute to the trail, to the database in All Trails, and they don't have to be verified. They're just dumped in here. So I see this gray box, but it doesn't tell me it's private property, and it also shows trails running right through it. So that's something to consider about. It also shows down here trails that are, they say that are in the Skamikan network, but these aren't authorized trails. Well, they weren't authorized until this year. So they are there now. But last year, these were unauthorized trails. They just existed. And so this is Gaia, very, very detailed open street map with amazing topographic lines, contour lines, the whole gamut. It does show a border kind of around the private property, but it also doesn't show you any of the colored trails. Like it goes black here, it's not colored anymore. So it's not going to lead you into this private property. If you stay on the colored trail system, you will not enter it. And then you also don't see any non-authorized trails. So Gaia has some sources that they are using that are verified. So those are just a couple of differences. When we mentioned about the what 3 words, so the other apps don't have that, but the Avenza does, and you would just click down here on the Latin long, scroll down, you'll see what 3 words, and they'll pop up, and you could leave it on that. If you're not a lat long person, you could leave it as what 3 words if you wanted to. So I think that's about all that I have to say. It was more of the private property that really caught my eye. And I didn't want to get astray, so I'll stop sharing. Anyway.
Yep. And from Horse Council's standpoint for making maps, you can make your tracks in Avenza. I don't care if you make them in Avenza. I don't care if you make them in Gaia, right? But any GPX track can be made and submitted to Sarah at Horse Council. And if you want to, you think it's a good idea to make a map. So, you know, you can see the ones we've done. The Skamikan actually was done by the regional district, but you know, Lundbaum, that was somebody went out and rode all those trails for us and we downloaded them. So there's about, Sarah, we had about 23 maps, I think 24 maps on Avenza with Horse Council, and we'd like to have 100 maps. So if anybody wants to get out there and start tracking, you can use your phone, you can use Avenza, you could use something else. You can even use it GPS if you want. Our cartographer will need a GPX file is the best for her to work with. Questions?
Yeah, I just see one. Do you find any of the functions that are in the pencil ruler section useful? So that's where you would go. You click on the pencil rulers if you wanted to record a GPS track. Navigate to a destination, that's, you would put a dot where you are and then a dot, well, I'd like to go over there, but that's as the bird fly, as a crow flies. It'll just be a straight line. And so then you could just kind of, I need to follow in that direction and start heading that way. Not,
I've used the draw and measure.
Yeah.
You can have a map. Bonnie and I have done this over coffee, where we've actually got a map on our phones, and this draw and measure, you literally, it's like taking a little string and you click and drag and it says, okay, well, that's a kilometer. And then you take it a little bit further and now it says it's a kilometer and a half, that kind of thing. That's how the draw and measure works.
Yeah.
There's another question. Can one navigate a track or route forward or reverse? I'm not sure what, Sarah, can you unmute Dan or unmute everybody so he can ask that question?
No, I can unmute myself. On some apps, we can get a track, like you mentioned, GPX or KML. And then there is an option to go the track, let's say from east to west, if it was such a simple track, or maybe from west to east, depending on where you stand on the track. So maybe in the morning, you traveled from east to west, and now you're in the afternoon or maybe halfway through the track, and you decide, I just want to go back on my backtrack on the same track or route where I came from. So they have an option, and I found in Avenza the way to navigate forward, but I could not figure it out how to go in reverse on the same track. This is an old function from the GPS, is like 20, 25 years ago. They had this forward and reverse. It's kind of standard with GPX files. And I was just asking if maybe you know, maybe it occurred, somebody knows, you know. I couldn't find it though.
Yeah, I don't know it. Did you try Googling it in Avenza? Did you find anything in there?
Yes, I watched the tutorials and documentation files, and I couldn't. Maybe it's there, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I know people have used this for, and this is, I think, a little bit different than what you're saying, is if you're riding on a pre-existing track, so you're on a map that has a track on it and away you go, and then you want to turn around, well, your blue dot will show you where you're going, whether you're going backwards or forwards on that track, but you're actually asking it to directionally push you a certain way, east or west, or is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Don't know how to do that. I don't think Linda does. Is that correct, Linda?
no, I
Okay.
don't.
Okay.
Other than putting that the little arrow on your blue dot, and that little arrow would be pointing in the direction that I would be actually walking.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
If
one more question, but I could actually type it in, and we can answer it in sequence if we have time.
yeah, what you could do is if you get Sarah's email and she can give it to you now, if you type it out and give it to her in an email, I can actually send it to Avenza. Because we're a map publisher, I can certainly ask questions if you want me to do that.
So should I type my email or?
No, Sarah will give you her Horse Council email right now. And if you just want to, it's pretty easy to remember. And then you can send her an email with the detail and then she'll forward it to me.
I had a quick observation before, if we have to close, right? I noticed on the website of Horse Council, there's location for GPX files, not only for the maps, but also for the GPX files. And I think maybe we should write a word of warning. Please upload the GPX file as well, because some people have GPSs and they can't use the map, but they can use the GPX on the GPS, right? And my suggestion was, these days it's so popular to use Google Maps, which also has an offline version of Google Maps. Perhaps it's a good idea to make a space for KML files on the website of Horse Council, not only GPX. And so if we could use GPX and KML and what we have would be probably covering a lot more options for different people, different, different preferences. And KML is quite, it's a proprietary corporate thing, but it's so popular. It's they have free stuff that we might benefit from using. That's all I had to
Oh,
add.
that's great suggestion. I think that's a great suggestion. And I also assume, and even if someone sent us a GPX, I'm pretty sure our cartographer can even change that into a KML file right off the get-go.
Right, we can load it and export it as KML.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
even if somebody sent us one way, we could have it presented both ways. Now, what we do though, Dan, is when people upload tracks, etc., they don't automatically populate the website because we have to check to make sure they're not on private property.
And if I may take one more minute of your time.
Yep.
On this particular item, we discussed it a little bit in the chapter, in Aldergrove chapter. And my suggestion was to maybe involve the trail, there's a person responsible for trail maintenance. And in a sense, this kind of concern that you mentioned, which is very, very important, could be added to the trail maintenance person, not necessarily in a technical way, but they could assign someone technical to review that trail for the particular area to make sure it's a legit horse trail, So right now the trail maintenance just deals with trail maintenance, right? But they could add to make sure that the tracks that are in that area are legit horse trails, And if they don't do it themselves, they could probably delegate to someone, but because there are so many trails throughout the province and you wonder like who's gonna, somebody in the lower mainland might not ever go to Prince George, but the trail maintenance over there, they know what trails are good and which ones are not so good or not at all good. If I'm not clear, I could maybe answer your question.
So when you're talking about trail maintenance, are you talking about the land owner in essence? So like it might
No,
be a
I'm
regional
talking-
district, or are you talking about backcountry horsemen people maintaining a trail, or what are you
Yes,
talking?
yes. I'm talking about the person in each chapter that is doing
Oh, okay.
is responsible, it's elected or appointed to do trail maintenance, like a manager or a responsible person in charge of trail maintenance. And I think this valid concern about is this a good horse trail or not should be passed on to them, because that way you break it down through the province, people that are actually closer to the trail to verify it.
Okay. Okay, good idea.
Just a suggestion.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just answered a question that Deb Oakman had about adding photos to a place mark, like on a spot on the map. So yeah, if you were to do a waypoint, if you go into that to add a waypoint, that little guy, when you click on that, you can pop down to add photos, then you click on add photos. Now, Avenza needs to have access to your camera or your photo library. If you don't allow it to have access to your camera, then you won't be able to click add a photo and take it with your camera right then and there on the spot. Or if you get home and you want to you've put the place mark in, but you had the photo from later, they still have to access your photos from your photo library, and then they can add it onto that. That makes sense. I don't see any other questions in the chat.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any either at the moment. I did pop my email into the chat as well. It's just recreation@hcbc.ca. So yeah, you guys can reach out to me at any time through there. Yeah, Sharon and Linda, are you guys okay to wrap up then?
Yeah, I'm good to wrap up. If there's no more questions, that's absolutely fine. And I don't, do we ever do like a little survey afterwards to find out how we did on these?
I could pop something in our or email when I send out the recording and send
Yeah.
out the PDF and whatnot. So
Yeah, I'd just be curious as a presenter was, you know, did we lose, did we lose everybody? Was it too advanced? Was it too easy? You know, it'd be good to get some feedback because you know, we took this one up another step and maybe we took too big of a step. I'm not sure.
yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, we can chat about that and look at putting something out there.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess thank you everybody for taking the time out of your night to come to the presentation. Big thank you to Linda and Sharon. I know you guys put a lot of time and effort into this and were studious about going through Avenza and everything
Oh, I think
before the
Sarah
presentation.
froze up there.
So yeah.
Also, like there's some good experience out here. So if you guys have found something and you really think it's really would be good to share, let Sarah know and then she can pass it on to Sharon and I, and maybe we can even have you as our guest speaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah, I'm sure there is lots of knowledge in the room as well. So if anybody else wants to ever do something, yeah, definitely let us know. Yeah, and I see that a lot of you on the call, I recognize some of the names as Backcountry Horseman members. But for any of you that aren't Backcountry Horseman members, it's a great place to get involved. And if you're new to trail riding, new to camping, or whatnot, definitely go check out Backcountry Horsemen and get involved with them. Yeah, and they're always looking for volunteers to help with maintaining trails, horse campsites. Great organization, so definitely check them out. And yeah, thanks so much everybody for joining, and thanks again, Linda and Sharon. So have a good night.
Thanks a lot.
Good night.
Good night.
Nate, thank you.
Right.